But who can get up the man in the truth? Nobody but one with a master grip. Nobody but one with a lion's paw. The Bible says there's a lion asleep in Judah. Who will wake him? No pussycat can wake up a lion. And this pussycat leadership will never wake the black man up. You're too weak in your effort to free our people from the hand of the oppressor.
It doesn't even matter, brother. Whatever way we start, that's the way we're going to start today. You know what I mean? Because I'm feeling it, Brother Kyle, that whatever comes out today is going to be right from Allah, like always.
Right.
But it's a special feeling that's in the air right now.
Good. So we got to use it.
Let's go.
You gotta capitalize on that.
Well, we're going to start right now. Enough said. In the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. It's in the name of Allah that we always come before our people, and we always come before our people in the greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Walaikum salam.
Yes, sir.
What's going on, brother?
And I'm just ready to, like you said, let's go ahead and get into the spirit, brother, because there's a lot going on in the world.
Right.
You know, our brother Kobe Bryant, had a tragic death. And again, whenever we're dealing with life and we believe that our videos is always leaning toward life, we want to focus on life more than death. So I don't want to drag that out. Even with my Uncle Bernie, when he passed, if you can remember, we said, may Allah be pleased with the good that he did, and we gave honor and we kept moving. I don't want to talk about Kobe in a short way like that to kind of demean all of the good that he did. It's nothing like that. But we have an agenda today.
Right.
And we want to stick with it. But may Allah be pleased with the good that Kobe Bryant did, and may we learn from Kobe Bryant. You know, may Allah bless his family, you know what I mean, and his loved ones. And more so than anything else, like I said, let's get into the life of Kobe Bryant, man. And that's the spirit that I'm in right now. And the video, I want the listeners and the viewers to know that that's his spirit is over this video. Only because that brother was so powerful, and being powerful like that, when Allah took him, because we don't believe anybody leaves here except by Allah's permission. His life has such a strong energy to it that he's demanding all of us, especially in America, especially in Philadelphia, to watch how that period rotates around your life. You know what I mean? How do you want to be looked at? How do you want to go down in history? How do you want to end your chapter? See, Kobe Bryant made me reflect on not just his good, but he's making me reflect on my life.
Right.
I mean, that hit home. Not just with me, but with seemed like everybody around me. That was a heavy one. I mean, we didn't expect that. I mean, he showed that he was living a good life. Physical. You know, I don't know his spiritual connection, but I know his dedication, and we don't need to go into that more because white people doing that real good, talking about how much he loved basketball. I know there's a lot more to Kobe Bryant than that. But he pretty much was in shape. You know what I mean? Almost looked like a Muslim in the nation. 1 meal a day. I mean, he never stopped looking like an athlete. He hasn't played ball since, 38? He was 41.
Right, okay.
But, you know, most of the time when you get out of playing, you retire, you start looking like you retired, right? But he kept on looking like a baller, man. Like I know Ice Cube probably was scoping him out.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, he's an athlete, and I know he still had it in him. So he was still living like a soldier and was healthy like a soldier, but yet somebody who don't look as healthy. His mentor, somebody that he looked up to other than Jordan, was Magic Johnson, the ultimate Laker. But Magic looked like he chilling. You understand what I'm saying without going into it too much about our brother, but who would have thought that Magic Johnson would have outlived Kobe Bryant?
Yeah.
That doesn't make you reflect on life, nothing will.
Mm.
So I'm gonna use that as an introduction to just use that to let the viewers know that this is the spirit we're in, the spirit of appreciation for the life that Allah is blessing us all with. So I'm gonna start off like that.
Okay. Absolutely.
Now I'm ready for any question you have, but I had to get that out.
Right. Okay.
Mhm.
So, let's get into it then.
Yes, sir.
All right. Black supremacy. Well, first of all, let's start with black supremacist organization, black extremist organization.
Okay.
What is that?
A black extremist organization is a white dialect, I have to say. It's a Caucasian term.
Okay.
Because why would that have to be extreme if you want to do what everybody else is doing? Is it a Chinese extremist organization when the Chinese people exercise life of business and get Chinatown and support their own town? And whenever you go there, you're not mistreated, but they're demonstrating life because they demonstrate unity and everything else that the nation needs to get what they have to get. You don't call that extreme. You just call that a good, strong, united race of people. So if we trying to emulate that, how can that be considered extreme? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense.
It would only be extreme to a person that colonized you and wants you to stay inferior.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If I want to read, at one point reading was extreme in this country. If you wanted to read, you were an extremist. I ain't got to go into it because we ain't got a lot of time. I think I made my point.
You did. So then, because if you made a comparison, we were talking about, so-called black extremist organizations versus, white extremists.
It was really supremacist.
Supremacist, okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Because I had noticed a lot of times when a minister gets interviewed, or any minister in the Nation of Islam, any student minister in the nation, whenever we're being interviewed, the Europeans always try to connect us. You know what I mean? Or compare us to a white supremacy group. So you have the KKK, the Ku Klux Klan, white supremacy group. Okay. And now we have the Honorable Minister Farrakhan here. We want to, a man who believes in black supremacy, somewhat like white supremacy. See, that's all wrong. And with this video, we want to set the record straight that we are not black supremacists, but we are a dominant race of people. We can't help that. That is the beginning of the difference right there. See, now when you're not dominant, how did you become supreme? That's what we want to talk about today. So they came from the bottom after they were brought out of us, their mothers and fathers. Or the way you would see it in the Jacob and Esau story, your dominant brothers and sisters. A recessive or weaker brother and sister came out of us. And then they became the dominant society. And even call themselves supreme to people that are more dominant than them. Really on every level. But of course we're not exercising that, so we can't say that. We can't say every level, but we do know on a genetic level we are dominant. Okay. And those are facts. We do know that we're here first because when it comes down to historic, we're older than them. So the fact that they are the ones who have control over the story, that they label his story, we study what he teaches us. Just like slavery, the difference is we're reading though, but you're only reading what he's telling you. Okay. You're not really going and finding your own story and then comparing it to what he's saying. See, I want to challenge his story. with the story.
Okay.
And we're free now, so we can go get the story and compare it to his story and then make one his story.
Okay.
One history that we all have to submit to. Like the Moors have their story, and then the Italians have their story. The Italians say that the Moors sacked the Roman Empire, murdered the men, beheaded the women. See, that's the story of Scipio Africanus. Whenever people fought back in the day, the conquering person, he was able to not only put his name on the area that he conquered, but his story would be written down ultimately as what actually happened.
Okay.
Even if it didn't.
Okay.
You see, so the Moors have a story too of what happened in Spain, and we're not going to deal with that because all you have to do is look up the history of the Moors, and all of that's in there now. The Alhambra has the whole history in it because of the way it was written. You know, I'm talking about the way it was built. The Alhambra was built by Muslims, and every little speck of architecture is dealing with Islam.
Yeah.
Even though they came behind after they threw all, expelled all the Muslims, they came and put crosses on the wall, and they just put Christian stuff over top of Muslim stuff.
So when you look at the actual architecture and the writings on the wall, it's like engraved into the walls. They're ayats from the Quran.
Intricate details.
Yeah, intricate detail.
On the light switch even. It'll say in the name of Allah. So, we're going to let that little study, our listeners and viewers have to do some homework yourself and go just look up the history of the Moors.
And if they're ever traveling in Spain, the Alhambra Palace is there. So
Right.
if you're in the southern part of Spain, that'd be something good to see.
Absolutely.
And check it out.
Yes, sir. But see, this is what we're going to get into today. We're going to search for the story, and we're going to expose the difference, and then we're going to do what the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad did and told us to do. We're going to get a clean glass out, and we're going to put our water in the glass, and then we're going to put their water in the other glass, and we're going to see which glass you want to drink from.
Okay. You know what? I have
Inshallah.
Inshallah. Let me put this to you and just get your twist, because we're talking about white supremacy,
Right.
so-called black supremacy.
Right.
I had a chance to check out a museum called the Perez Art Museum. This is in Florida.
Okay.
And I saw a depiction. This actually is done by a Dominican artist, but this was a depiction of a black woman in New Orleans, I think in the 1800s, and she had her hair covered, kind of in a wrap. And you know how you can read the description of what the art is supposed to signify.
Like a keyboard or something?
Kind of like a Khimar, but it wasn't a Khimar. Like, it was more like they wanted black women to have their hair covered. They wanted black women to have their hair covered so that white men would not find these black women as attractive.
Okay.
So almost like it was a way of hiding the black woman's beauty.
Nice.
Now mind you, these were free black women. These black women were not enslaved.
Right.
Yeah. So
And who was doing this?
This was in New Orleans.
Okay.
In the 1800s.
Wow.
Now there's an actual name. This wasn't a Khimar, but there's a specific name that the French or Creole people had for these headscarves, which I can look up and I'll let you know later on.
Okay.
Once I find it. But it was actually a law that these free women of color or free black women had to wear these hair pieces so that white men would not find them attractive. What are your thoughts on that? Because we're talking about white, as that relates to white supremacy.
My thoughts, the first thing that comes to mind is just slavery itself, man. I mean, we have race mixing today. And I feel like a lot of times we don't really study where we came from because we are so focused on where we're trying to go. And it's a old African movie that they made years ago, 20 years ago or more, called Sankofa.
Okay.
And Sankofa means to make a better future by going back to the past and correcting it. And see, a lot of times we don't do that. We just go ahead and try to make a better future and ignore the past, and then run into all types of pitfalls and problems in our everyday lives. So our sisters definitely during slavery weren't attracted to white men. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Because of slavery. Why would you be attracted to a person who's murdering you and your children and basically being the worst type of human being that a person could be? So much so that in the Nation of Islam, the group that they call a white supremacist group, we refer to that kind of behavior as devilish behavior done by devils. See? So if a person is a devil, you don't have to teach anybody that he's a devil. The person is the best teacher of that label. So if we say the white man is the devil, I mean, the next question should be why? Why are you saying this? To answer your question, every day of black people's lives back then, in the 1800s, right? That's what you're talking about. We knew who we were looking at. We knew what they were. And if you're not attracted to Satan today and want to make love to Satan today, that was the mindset of those sisters in New Orleans. That was the mindset of the men there. They didn't want to be found attractive to Satan. Is that clear? You want me to go a little further?
No, that makes sense.
Okay. Because I really like when the answers are sharp. I'm getting better. I'm gonna try to just keep it at a minimum because our people, like I said, we don't really listen too long, right?
Right.
So we gotta always keep that in mind.
I'm just thinking about we were having a conversation one day about the beauty of not to like focus on skin too much, but just the beauty of dark skinned people.
Right.
That there's a certain attractiveness and a certain quality when you see the richness of a person who's like a darker skinned person who takes care of themselves. And,
right.
And I just sometimes wonder, could it be a thing of jealousy where under white supremacy, like the sisters had to cover their hair, but it almost seems like there's so many things that will be done where black people have to like hide their beauty, or if they try to manifest their beauty by just being themselves, it'll be like people that try to like talk down on them. Like what's the young brother now that he wasn't able to with the young guy with the locks, and I'm trying to remember what happened.
He was trying to compete. I don't know his name, but the light skinned brother. Before he could compete, they cut his dreads off, right? I don't know his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. And no, but just like that too. Like what I mean, like you're just being like in you being yourself. There's beauty in that.
Right.
But it's just like this jealousy of your natural beauty.
So we definitely know that the European race has been jealous of the black race. And see, when I talk about blackness, we're in the Nation of Islam. We're not talking about light-skinned black, dark-skinned black. No, it's only one black. We're one family. And that's why my two youngest children are darker than me and their mother. We produce all the shades, so we don't separate. When you wake up, it ain't no light-skinned, dark-skinned thing no more. It's black. Black is not a color. Black is the father of color, and we are the father of all races of people, so we have to get on that page. I just want to put that out there just in case somebody was misinterpreting what you were saying when you were talking about the darker skin or the darker hue. We're just talking about the darker people of the earth, but not necessarily just talking about a dark-skinned black person opposed to a person that might be our complexion or lighter. Melanin is such a beautiful. I'll say this to keep it short because I want to go with that, but I'm gonna keep it short. If you want to know what I believe you're saying, or what I'm about to say, just open your eyes. Don't listen so much to people. Pay attention to yourself. Take a bath. Elijah Muhammad said we should take a bath once every 24 hours. And then, take care of your skin. If you're one of them people that needs some lotion, put some lotion on, do what you got to do. And then go outside and then have somebody take a picture of you because the eye sees everything but itself, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said. So we're not really wired to see our own beauty. And that's why somebody can make you think you're not beautiful if you really are. And after you do that, or just get a mirror and look at your skin when the sun is shining on it, and watch the crystals. That it's like a crystal glare to any complexion of people that are black. That melanin, the sun will shine on that skin, and it'll look like you have crystals in your skin. What made me notice that, because unfortunately, I'm going to say it, I'm not trying to be smart. I have white customers, I have white friends. I don't see that crystal look in the sun with the European. And I believe it's because of the lack of melanin that's in their skin. Hopefully nobody takes this the wrong way. I don't mean it in that way. I'm just a very observant person. I've always been like that since I was little. And I'm paying attention. It's the reason that Europeans burn up in the sun, and it's a reason that we don't. And that reason is melanin. And melanin is just not the ability of not burning up in the sun. Melanin is beautiful. And when you study melanin like Europeans do, ain't it deep that the European knows more about melanin than black people? Why are you just finding out about melanin? You think they didn't know? What is it? The sleep agent. You know what I mean? I'm not asking. I'm gonna. Melatonin. You get melatonin shots and stuff like that for vitamin D3. You know what I mean? For your hair and your skin and all of these things. They make, anytime they make a pill, that means they did some intense study before they put it on the shelf. Black person don't know nothing about vitamin D3 for the most part. You know what I mean? So you're walking around and somebody's hiding you from you. So I can leave it at that. Study yourself, man. Elijah Muhammad said, knowledge of self, knowledge of God, and knowledge of the enemy. If you are Mr. Melanin Man, then study yourself, man. My father drew up a cartoon called Melanin Man. And what Melanin Man does is he...
oh, you don't have Melanin Man? Oh, yeah.
I have Melanin Man over here, but I'm not going to leave, you know. But he fights against disease. You know what I mean? Well, I'm going to go get melanin. Nah, I'm not going to get melanin. Right. I'll leave it, maybe next time. But I was going to show you what he looked like. But what he does is he fights disease. My father actually drew him. You know what I mean? But it's a cartoon, and the world is really deep. The world that Melanin Man lives in is the human body. And we're taught that in the Nation of Islam, that when God said, let us make, before that, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth, and the earth was without form and void. Our teachings say that man is the heavens and the earth that Bible is talking about. Every human being, whatever's in the heavens and whatever's in the earth is inside the man. So when you're making a new man, you're literally making a new heaven and a new earth, because you were the one that God gave power over both. So when a new man was coming and being made from us, before that person was pulled out of us, he was without form and void inside us. The dormant race that became manifested from the science of Yakub. Ain't that heavy?
That is heavy.
See, we're going to go there today. Inshallah, we're going to really try to clear up a lot, man. In Allah's name, and in the name of the Christ and the reminder in our midst today. Because without them, we cannot do this. How would you relate to Master Prophet Muhammad without the Christ, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad? And we young, girl. How would we get to the honorable Elijah Muhammad if it wasn't for the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan? So I just like to do these things in their name, because I believe we're blessed when we do that. But go ahead.
Let's I want to kind of like take a twist for a second.
Go ahead, bro.
Because we're talking about
But I hope I answered that.
You did.
Okay.
You did. Because we're talking about you know, the beauty of blackness, the beauty of melanin, and then you just made a segue into saying that when Allah wants to make you know, change it, like, and this is me paraphrasing, but when a man comes with a different mindset, then that mindset is the mindset that changes the environment, basically. Okay. So I'm looking at the condition of, you know, I'm talking about Muslim people now.
Okay.
You look at
When you say Muslim people
today,
unfortunately, okay.
Well, what? Because I'm not talking about the
I'm
U.S.
gonna zip it up.
Yeah. Give me a moment. Let me get into it.
Yes, sir.
Because you can go to like North Africa, you can go to West Africa, you can go to like parts of the Middle East and even parts of Asia, and you see the Muslim people in some of these countries, like you look at northern Nigeria, and it's like it seems like the populations where there's like predominantly Muslim people, they're struggling. There's high rates of poverty. There's high rates where like education is not as good. Like people are struggling with vices and all types of health conditions, but yet, you know, these are Muslim people. You know, these are people who know Allah and who have the Quran. You know what I mean? Who know how to make their prayers. Like, how does that touch you?
It touches me like this. It makes me reflect on what we teach about the time that we're living in. It makes me understand why Allah inspired the minister to make our newspaper and not just leave it as Muhammad speaks, but make it into what it really is, a final call. We are living in a day of tribulation, and that's why our job is to blow the trumpet of truth and let the people know that we are no longer in the year of truth. You know what I mean? Or we're not even in the day of truth. We are literally in the hour of truth. When Jesus says that it is at your door, that means if you're not ready right now, you're gonna get caught up. That's what that means. I mean, you called me, you sent me a text, Z, I'm on my way, right? Okay. You on your way? I got a couple things I can do. I'm gonna run to the store, I'm gonna get some water. See what I'm saying? I can run and get some water and get here before you get back. At worst, I might catch you when we get here at the same time. But if you at the door, that means I have no time to get ready. In other words, you caught me. See? And we're in a period of time right now where Christ is at the door. The reminder is blowing the trumpet of truth, letting you know that he's right here. So because of that, if we're not living right, we're witnessing tribulation and people becoming or being victims of tribulation. That's what that is. We're in the day of tribulation. And the Christ is at the door. And if you're not practicing rightly, whether you call yourself a Muslim, a Christian, or whatever you call yourself, you're going to be going through a whole lot of that and then some. It's going to get worse when you go back to visit. That's what it makes me think.
Okay. Let me come back to our initial question. So is there such a thing as black supremacy then?
That's why I don't believe in that.
Okay.
That's a white man's term. Flipped around.
Okay.
Somewhat like reverse racism. See, I don't subscribe to these ridiculous sayings that they come up with.
Okay.
You know, first of all, what is a reverse racist? Racism is hatred without a reason. Every black person, whether we agree with it or not, has a reason to not like white people because of what they have done and continue to still do. The Bloomberg, or whatever his name is, who's running for president, right? He was on Jimmy Fallon. I'm not going to stay on that too long, but he commended Jimmy Fallon for doing a good Kobe Bryant tribute or whatever. And that's his spirit. He said, I like the way you handled that Kobe thing. He called it a Kobe thing. Yeah. You know what I mean? Now he's one of our giants. He called it a Kobe thing. I was looking at Stephen A. and he was breaking down how Kobe Bryant was more than just a good physical player, that when he was having back spasms and he was getting ready to play against Vince Carter, you know, he said, I don't have back spasms today. And he went out there because he was that dedicated, right? And he was that type of a soldier on the court. And as he was singing the praises of our brother Kobe Bryant. May Allah be pleased with him.
Mm-hmm.
The Europeans that was on the show, you can hear not a pin drop, but a tissue drop, because they were so quiet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hear that type of quietness if you're talking about a Carson Wentz, or if you're talking about a Nick Foles.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So the question is, you know, what is the difference, or how do I see it?
Mm-hmm.
White supremacy, black supremacy? It's their term.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really subscribe by that, but what I do say is, who is the original man?
Mm-hmm.
The original man is the Asiatic black man. The maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, God of the universe. See, that's our teaching.
Mm-hmm.
But all that, who is the supreme man? Allah is supreme.
Mm-hmm.
They try to play Allah, that's why they ended up being white supremacists. Assalamu alaikum, brother Wazir.
Interesting.
I'm doing good. I got brother Kyle in the chair and you in the video, brother Wazir. So
Assalamu
we're doing
alaikum,
the video
sir.
right now. He just
Brother
gave
Wazir.
salams. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can handle that with no problem. Yep. Yes, sir. Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yep. Yes, sir. No problem at all, brother. I got you. Yes, sir. Thank you. Walaikum salam, brother Wazir. That's my brother, man.
Yes, sir.
Yep. We back in action.
Uh-huh.
Couldn't be working with a better brother.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah,
we were talking about that white supremacy and how the supreme God, you know what I mean? Allahu Akbar.
Mm-hmm.
Not Blackhu Akbar.
Mm-hmm.
Whitehu Akbar. No. Allah is the greatest.
Mm-hmm.
Allah is supreme. And this is the natural people. We have no problem with Allahu Akbar and submitting to Allah. But when you trying to be Allah, you end up with a white supremacy group. You think you supreme because you think you're God. And really, you ain't even dominant enough to be supreme over us. You're not supreme. We're going to deal with that today. That there really is no such thing as white supremacy when everybody wakes up. And what we're going to try to do is shake it up a little bit so they can turn it up. Because right now, they're fighting a sleep black man. And in some cases, these white supremacists are fighting and going against dead black people. But we must blow the trumpet of truth. That final call, Farrakhan put the final call out there. We got to blow that trumpet so loud that all black people, whether you're in the nation or not, wake up so it can be a fair fight. And then we can see, or they can see, how supreme they're not. We got to do away with this white supremacy and let's start working on some God supremacy. I don't like and we don't like black supremacy, but that's our nature to not like that. So that's the reason we didn't give that term. How many black supremacists do you know? I mean, a group that calls themselves black supremacists. We're dealing from the Nation of Islam perspective, but did the Panthers call themselves black supremacists? No. Did the Garveyites call themselves black supremacists? You know what I mean? I ain't gonna keep going down the list because you might run into a nut group that does say this. But we don't believe in that. Does that answer the question?
It does.
Praise be to Allah.
I'm just wondering, like, when you go to other places in the world, I wonder, do you see this dynamic where this thing of you know, like a colonizer that tries to call another group a supremacy organization?
That's his tactic, Brother Khan. That's how he gets divide and conquer going on, like he did in the Congo, like he did in South Africa. You got the Hutu against the Tutsi. You say one group is prettier than the other, one group is smarter than the other, or better than the other, or whiter looking than the other. And before you know it, the people start believing. And now you got the people fighting each other, and their brothers fighting. And while you're fighting, they creep in, and now you got white people living in South Africa who weren't there first. How did you get there? You got there being slick. Who invited you? If we have a colony of black people that move into, Italy, I'm sure it is, but I'm just saying if it becomes so much or so populated that they actually have to say, wow, it's more blacks than Italians in Italy, you would have to say, well, what happened? How did this take place?
Yeah.
So if you have these populating Europeans in South Africa, who invited them? How did they get there? You know what I mean? So you have these colonized areas, and colonization is not a good word. That means you went in there killing people, man. You went in there tricking people, lying to people. You went in there with the Jacob mentality, the Yakub mentality. Only we know about these things, and that's why we can use these terms. Other people that recognize this, I love looking at Hidden Colors. Shout out to every brother, any kind of, that's trying to put any kind of information in the world. Umar Johnson, Tariq Nasheed, and all of those brothers, you know what I mean, who put that first couple Hidden Colors together. It's a beautiful thing. But they can't use the terminology we use. They got all of this knowledge, but they can't tell you who it is that made a mess. And we can. Who is the skunk of the planet? See, we got that terminology. And we're going to have to turn up the volume. You know what I mean? Same thing, and I want to end with this, on that. You have the Haitian brothers and sisters. You were talking to one of the brothers from Haiti. And you have the Dominican brother and sister on the same land, no water separating Dominican Republic from Haiti. But they're colonized by the Europeans, two different countries colonized that one area. The French colonized Haiti, and the Spanish colonized Dominican Republic. And what ended up happening? Was it a bunch of Europeans with black people? Yeah, but it was a divided black people and a united white people. Even if one was coming from France and one was coming from Haiti or Spain. You see? White supremacy is something that they concocted, and they all unitedly support that and fight towards it. I like sometimes I say good cop, bad cop. You can't have a bunch of bad white people. You'll never create a world built on white supremacy that way. You're going to have the good white man to keep the hope of white people doing it your way one day.
Okay.
All that's a trick.
You know what, the interesting thing is, me and a brother, we got into the history of the island a little bit. And he was telling me how to, the Haitians pretty much ran the French out of there altogether.
Right.
But he was saying how on the side
Eventually they did.
For 1804, that was the revolution. They ran them out. It was a wreck. And just a little bit of history. Philadelphia actually has some history on that because Philadelphia allowed some of the some of the French soldiers who got whipped to seek refuge here.
Okay.
And they ended up, those white French soldiers ended up bringing yellow fever here. So that was how they had the yellow fever outbreak in Philadelphia in the 1800s.
Wow.
And then that led up to what's there's a famous reverend from Philly, a black guy, Richard Allen, I think is his name.
Yeah.
He was a pastor.
Richard Allen Projects in North Philly, right?
But one of the significant things that he did, this is Black History Month too.
Come on now.
All right, so one of the significant, and I think it was Richard Allen. Significant things he did is since white people couldn't deal with yellow fever at all, so they had nurses that would or like home care people that would come to the houses. They were afraid to go to the houses of these people with yellow fever because they couldn't, they would get sick and potentially die too.
Okay.
So what Richard Allen peeped that, so he assembled a team of black, kind of like nurses and home care providers that would go into the homes of people, white people with yellow fever, and that would care for them. So in that sense, he was a so-called Black American hero, taking care of white people. Because, if you're of African descent, supposedly this yellow fever will not affect you as much as it would like a person of European descent. So for that reason, he's considered a hero in Philadelphia history. and I guess like in American history. But yeah, that's the story of Richard Allen. But
Thank you for that, bro.
yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But to take it back, to segue back into the history of Haiti and Dominican Republic, you know, so pretty much like the way he explained it is like the people of the island, the people of the portion of the island that considered themselves to be Haitian, they to a degree they all agreed upon their African descent, right? But on the side where like the Spanish like, you know, continued to have some rule, you know, that's where this whole thing of like kind of like that, like it's better to be white. They had that whole thing. So even today they have a problem with darker skinned people.
Where's this at?
Dominican Republic.
Oh yeah, Dominican. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, Dominican Republic.
Right.
So much so that if you're suspected of being Haitian, they can deport you back to Haiti.
Unbelievable.
Or if
so you got to cross the street. Yeah.
Or you could be a Dominican. You could be a Dominican who doesn't speak any Creole. You're not Haitian at all.
Right.
If they suspect you of being Haitian, they'll send you over to Haiti. Won't let you back in. And he said these Dominicans are struggling because they don't speak Creole. You know, they're not Haitian, and basically they're struggling. They can't get jobs. They can't speak the language.
They're dark skinned.
Yeah, they're just dark
So
skinned.
they
think they're Haitians.
Well, really, they the same people.
But you gotta look at it from the way that they're thinking about it. That's what I'm saying, and that's where I want to go with this.
Go ahead.
Because I feel like we have our way of seeing things, right?
Right.
But the world sees things different.
Right.
Like, and now mind you, it is. I feel like there is more of an Afro, like you look at Brazil, you look at like some Spanish-speaking countries. Like there is a thing where like people of African descent are now starting to kind of claim it, but still, there's this whole complex thing of colorism, where people may not necessarily agree with you. Oh yeah, we the same people. You know what I mean? But
go ahead, brother.
Yeah. So we got to touch on that because how can you? It's one thing to just like deliver the message. All right, yeah, we're the same people. But how can you put that in a way where somebody who doesn't feel that way can accept it?
That's beautiful, brother.
That's what I want to
You know how sometimes Allah bless me to give you an answer, you get a little excited, gotta calm yourself down. I just had that moment.
Okay.
Listening to what you're saying because it's so important what you just said. So powerful what you just pointed out. By the grace of Allah. It means that not only do we have to speak the language of the people right, I mean, we gotta stop using these as catchphrases and actually use what we get taught. You know what I mean? So how do you speak the language? And how do you recognize? I mean, you got to be quick thinking, fast moving, right down to modern day time, clean inside and out, right down to modern day times. And to interpret that for those who may not understand that so much, being quick thinking, right down to modern day times, just means that you must teach according to the time. That if you have the truth with an outdated way of teaching it, then who cares? Wow. How could it help? Wow. And that happens in religion. So if you have an outdated way of expressing Islam, which is true, no effect. So we won't get the effect that the Holy Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing be upon him, received. Being able to take over countries at a time. Because he was on time with his truth and he was teaching according to the time. But now here you go. Without pointing fingers, I don't have to say it, you know it. How are you teaching Islam? Are you teaching it like a Arab from the 1400s? That's why you get the reaction you get. And that goes for not just them. I'm not shooting at our brothers. I'm not even going to say a title because we're Muslim. Right. But I don't want nobody to think that I'm trying to shine on them. Yeah. Because I'm going to bring it right up. The best way you can make people know what your real motive and intention is when you turn that flashlight around on yourself. Let's shine it on the Nation of Islam. We got to make sure we're not guilty of teaching like it was back under segregation. If we keep on teaching the truth of Elijah Muhammad as if we're living under segregation and not integration, then we're going to be guilty in going through the same thing they're going through. And that's why we not doing as good as we should be doing.
Okay.
We should be doing a lot better. The truth don't change, but the time do.
Mm-hmm.
As long as the principles are the same, like we're taught by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, then we'll always be able to stand firm on what was taught.
Right.
Whether it be the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad or Jesus or Abraham himself, the principle never changes.
Wow, praise be to Allah.
Yes, sir. All praise is due to Allah. I told you I was a little filled up, but not with me. I'm not filled up with Brother Zebulon. I'm filled up with Allah right now. You know? And our people know the difference.
Right, that's right. All right, well, how about this then? All right, you and I had a
I want to
conversation.
say this too. Don't forget what you're going to say
Right.
before you finish. We got to get this on quick. But go ahead.
Wait.
That was it. I'm talking about this video. I mean, I don't want to. This is something. I just feel like it's. Don't forget what you're going to say, brother. But I know we're at war and we're fighting a power that's so much bigger than you and me. And when I say this is Allah speaking, we got to use Allah, a God against a God. I can't beat this beast by myself, and neither can you. But we must do these things in the name of Allah. It's not a catchphrase. That's what I'm saying. So I take these videos so seriously. That's what I'm saying. Because I don't recognize it. Like I told you before the video, I don't see me. I see you and Allah in these videos. I don't even try to look for me. I'm just trying to see what it is that we are doing together. And I see Allah answer your questions. And Allah go in you to make the question. And so it can be a honey-like healing for our people, man.
Okay.
That's how I look at these videos.
Okay. Well, let's let the healing begin, brother.
Let the healing continue, right?
Yeah, let's continue.
I'm sorry, but the Spirit just made me to say that. Meaning the thought.
Right.
You know, gotta be on point. Ain't nothing spooky jumping in me.
Yeah, we're not going out.
Yeah. Whatever a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So when the thought comes to me, I just give all credit to Allah for giving me that thought.
Praise be to Allah.
We're teachers, brother. In His name. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
So, this concept of being mixed, right?
Right.
Like a person who, all right. Well, let me start the question this way.
Okay.
Like someone might have a black parent and a white parent,
Right.
So then this world, you know, they would be categorized as mixed, or they have a black parent and an Asian parent.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're considered as mixed.
Right.
But how do we? Because you talked about using principles in a way to deliver the message where everyone can have an opportunity to understand the truth. And if we're representing Islam and we're using time in the time appropriately, then we should be able to reach people.
Right.
So what about, because it seems like there's a lot of confusion when it comes to like people being considered as mixed, if they're, you know, black and white, black and Asian. Like, talk about that a little bit.
Okay.
And well, talk about that first.
Okay,
Then I'll follow up.
Yeah. You know, you really push that God thing. You give me about 50 things to say, but it's all good. I'm with you though, because God gonna answer. You come on with that kitchen sink. You got it. But Minister Abel does such an excellent job.
I love Minister Abel.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like
how he breaks it down.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's best to hear it right from the man who's going through that more so than we are. You know, they would consider student Minister Abel to be mixed. Some people would. You know what I mean? So you saying, how do I see that? I see it as a tribal situation. I see it as a cultural situation. There's only two races on the planet. And that's why the Spirit of God moved us to do a How Do We See White People Part 1 and 2. It's all up in there if you look at it. I study these videos. But it's deep because we are only two races of people. We are the indigenous people, or the natives of the planet, or the aboriginal people of the planet, regardless of tribe and language and culture. People of color, original people, the people that God put on this planet first, is one whole race of people. Now the only other race of people are the Europeans that came from us. They are not indigenous, meaning natural. They're not aboriginal, meaning they were here first, and they're not natives anywhere on the planet. So that is the difference between the original people of the earth and the people that's from us. So there's really no mixing. And I really would like to send you some pictures of my nephews from my niece-in-law who married shout out to Ashley, you know what I mean, in Orinia, her and her husband, he's Asian. Okay. And they have beautiful children that look Asian and black. Because it's nothing that the original black people can do with the original Asian. We can't erase the Asian. The features of Asian people are so strong, it's always going to be on this planet. And the color of the black man is always going to be on this planet. But the people who are not aboriginal people, indigenous people, or natives anywhere on the planet, it will be a time when you are not here. And that is what they know, and that's what we have to learn, so that we can act accordingly. Not throwing our weight around, but stop being a victim to white supremacy when you're a dominant race of people. What's going on, Brother Reverend? We doing fine, sir. Got my brother Kyle in here, and we're doing another video, finishing it up. I'm looking like another half an hour. Yup. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Okay, brother. Yep. All right. See. What's that? Okay, that'll work. All right. Sounds good. See. Go ahead,
Now, you were saying.
I was basically finishing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I finished.
Okay. Okay.
When I was talking about how we have to recognize who we are, and we can act accordingly. You know, what is white supremacy when you have black gods walking the face of the earth?
Okay.
So, we gotta stop blaming them so much.
Yeah.
White supremacy, man. Stop me from getting a job. Really? Don't get me started. Let's keep moving. I'm being good.
All right.
I'll act it out in a minute. You know what I mean? I'll turn into a Negro right on the screen. When I'm describing a Negro, I kind of turn into one, so you can have a visual.
Okay.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. So you get the drift.
Okay. All right. So in the lessons, it goes into the importance of extracting the wisdom of the human family of the planet Earth. Is it possible under the banner of Islam to be able to extract the wisdom of the human family, even if not all of the human family consider themselves to be Muslim?
That's the same question from a different angle.
Yeah.
Because at one point you might not know that you were part of the original black nation. Who is the original man? Not who is the Mexican man, who is the South African man, who is the original man? We don't count how many Mexicans is on the planet. You know what I mean? How many original people are on the planet? You know what I mean? So it's basically the same thing with Islam. Islam is your nature. Holy Quran chapter 30 verse 30, we as original people are all made in the nature of Islam. So Islam is our natural religion. We naturally submit to Allah. We started off talking about that. That's why we don't believe in black supremacy, because that would mean that we're pushing God out of the supreme seat and trying to sit in there ourselves. That has nothing to do with race, is what I'm trying to explain.
Right.
The original people had to learn their nature, and that's all wrapped up in knowledge of self.
The reason why I wanted to ask that is because I feel like there's I'm grateful to the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, because I think there's some flexibility in the way that we're taught to think about these things.
Right.
I think that like the average person, if they think a person is Muslim, like you think of a Muslim, that's someone who believes in Allah, and then it's like closed off to the reality that you have family who are other members of different tribes of the planet Earth under the banner of the original man. So just because somebody is Muslim does not mean that they're more of your brother than someone who may be like of some indigenous tribe in another country. Because if you see yourself as the original man, it all links in. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
But not everybody would see it that way.
And not everybody is going to see what you were saying about the Haitians and the Dominicans. But how will they know unless they have a teacher, right? And how will they have a teacher unless one be sent? Let's give the people the address. That's a little too powerful to just quote without putting the scripture there. Where is it in the Bible where it says, how will they know unless they have a teacher? And how will they have a teacher unless one be sent?
Sorry, I didn't catch that. You can also try spelling it.
Wow. It says it just the way it's supposed to say it.
I found this on the
Here
web.
it is. Romans chapter 10, verse 14 and 15.
Okay.
Romans 10, 14 and 15. Yep.
So I feel like even something as simple as that, it's it can change a person's whole outlook on life
Perspective, right?
and how they interact with other people.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that would be key to people having a more diverse understanding of Islam.
I want to go into a little detail about that scripture instead of just quoting it, because a lot of times people don't understand what we mean when we use scripture. Well, nobody in this world has what it takes to do what you're saying needs to be done. And that's the reason people still they feel the way they feel, even though this scripture's been here for over 2,000 years, right? Well, how will they know unless they have a teacher? And how will they have a teacher unless one be sent? See, this is Paul talking to the Romans, explaining how chapter 10, Romans 10, 14 and 15, he's explaining to the people that he's talking to, the Romans, that all who came before were thieves and robbers. Jesus says that in John chapter 10, verse 8. So you're not going to learn black history really from a white school. Even if they have a black history course, what kind of history do you think you're going to learn? You're going to learn about slavery. But are you going to learn how the pyramids got there? Are you going to learn how the Olmec stone heads were made by those original black people in that area? See, all that's secret knowledge. They study that and learn that themselves, but they will never give you and me and us, the credit for making those pyramids, or the respect, even though it's right there in our homeland, in the motherland, right there in the middle of Africa, right? The top part of it, right? It's right there. But yet they say the ancients made the pyramids. Now, what is an ancient? Just say what it is. The indigenous people or the original people of the earth made these pyramids, right?
Right.
But they don't teach it that way because they don't want us to learn and get empowered. So I think I was talking about Stephen A. when he was talking about Kobe Bryant and breaking down how powerful Kobe was and how strong his willpower was, how much he used that pineal gland like Michael Jordan. That melody that will have you be able to have a back spasm and then play right through it and still win, right? That ability to do what other people may call impossible. As he was singing Kobe's praises, the Caucasian people that was there, like I said, I did say it, you can hear a paper drop. They were in the background, with no kind of emotion at all. Then when they finally got a chance to talk, I agree with you 100%.
Right.
But it's no emotion like it would be if you were talking about Carson Wentz. They go crazy. They had Carson Wentz with a Superman suit on. And this is before he even had a whole season of being healthy for a full season. He had the Superman suit on. So, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I see.
Okay.
That's what I see. We have to teach our own people, man.
Okay.
And we can't get mad at them for not teaching our own people what we should be teaching ourselves. Back page of the final call. We have all the answers. We just got to apply it.
Okay.
I hope I didn't change your train of thinking, because I didn't change mine. I mean, that's basically what we're dealing with. You know, whose responsibility is it to teach our children or teach ourselves? Knowledge of self is what we're dealing with. It's not a catchphrase. Go ahead, brother.
So when the brothers in the streets with the final call, and you know, people see us, and you know, in some cases may assume, these are the guys that either don't like white people, or they believe in black supremacy against, and white people should, be lesser, and all of this. How do we break all that? How do we break up that stereotype?
We basically take what we're saying here out there. That's all. we gotta stop talking so much and get some hands on. You know what I mean?
Right. The clinical hours.
There
right?
you go. I mean, you can pass a test. Good for you. You get a gold star.
Right.
Now you gotta show that you got a gold star where it matters.
Yeah.
And if you want, I'm taking my star back. Put a big F on the top of that, too. You know what I mean?
That's the work, right?
Yeah, we gotta make this word manifest, But we have to demonstrate that a mighty God came. And that's what I was saying before with that scripture. How will they know? Unless they have a teacher. And how will they have a teacher unless one be sent? And Jesus's words in the book of John says, all who came before me were thieves and robbers. And what does he mean by that? He said he was saying that we had spiritual people before he got there. See, we never have a reverend shortage. We never have a priest shortage. So we always have teachers. The shortage is we have the wrong teachers because they have the wrong heart and the wrong mind. You know what I mean? And the wrong motives. As long as the Europeans been on our planet, they've been trying to hide you from you. Because there's no them when you wake up, according to what they think. They feel that we will exercise our dominance and erase them genetically. How do you think you would feel as a race of people that knows that another race of people that's really dead or asleep, they don't know the power that they have. They don't know that they can kill you with love. Not doing one thing wrong. Not breaking any rules or laws. See, when integration came on the scene, that was the Europeans taking the law that said that white and black could not mix, taking that law away. That law been in place before America was here. That law goes all back to the Bible. But the code word was Israel, so they didn't want to mix with nobody. Because if they did, they wouldn't have made it for 6,000 years. So this ain't nothing new. This goes all the way back to Yaqub himself 6,000 years ago. These people who are his children need racism and separation just to survive on a planet that was not made for them. Eternal. They had a period where they were supposed to dominate. A manifest destiny that would only last for 6,000 years. And when I made the statement about putting it up quick, imagine the people that are supreme, they run YouTube, they run all of this stuff. That's what I was trying to say. So I don't like this being in their hands for a week or two or whatever, and then we don't put it out there because God knows what they're going to do with it. For real, they got the power, we don't. But with Allah, we got all power. This message has to get to the people through YouTube, through Facebook, through whatever, but also through Final Call newspaper and us going out and doing what you did today. You know what I mean? Yeah. But we got to come at them from all angles, because guess what, Kyle? Brother Kyle? They're coming at us from all angles. They got a video way of coming at us. They got a radio way of coming at us. They got every kind of way you can imagine, constantly feeding us to stay in the position we're in. So if they got many kind of fight styles against us, if you want to win, you got to have many fight styles towards them. And if you can't have that, at least be like David and pull out your slingshot. You get connected to Allah and He will knock them out.
Right.
LL might not knock them out. And when I say knock them out, I mean all unrighteous people, whether you're black or white. Because a Gentile is not just dealing with Europeans, it's also dealing with a mindset. You know what I mean? You have some black people that promote white supremacy for a check. They already know what they're doing and they don't care because they feel like they're getting paid. White supremacy is helping them live a good life, so they sell out. Ain't that deep?
Yeah.
Go ahead, brother.
What's the value of putting this message into different art forms? Like there are many art forms. Like you have music, you have movies, you have visual arts like paintings, drawings. Like so,
Gentlemen, how we doing?
What's going on, Brother Reverend?
Y'all looking well for the young men.
Thank you, sir.
I'm sitting outside on the phone, sir. I'll be sitting right here.
Well, you just blessed us with your voice on our video, so we
yes,
good.
sir. Yes, sir. I'm in your front. I'm out here.
Well, you next.
In your front door. I know.
Nobody's getting in front of you.
Yes, sir. Okay.
All right, brother.
Right. Well, what's the value of putting the message into these artistic forms?
Say that one more time.
What's the value of putting the message into different artistic forms, whether
One
it be
word.
music or
Culture. It's always good to see when you do that. That's just going with the word culture, meaning like there is no culture without agriculture. You know, when you're building a world,
right.
you know what I mean? When you're building a world, one second. You have to deal with all these things. You know what I mean? You have to deal with all of these things. Booker T. Washington, you know, when you get a little old, you gotta wait for a while. But that was a quote from the Honorable Booker T. Washington, you know, when he said, without any agriculture, there is no culture. So agriculture means that you don't have to rely or depend on anybody else, right, as you build your world. So it's very, very important to do music. It's very important to do artwork. It's very important to build a nation because all of these things are blessings from Allah, and it's our birthright, our God-given talents. You know what I mean? The original people, especially what we call the cream of the planet Earth, the black man and woman in America, we are, if not the #1 oil producers, we are the most talented people on the planet Earth. I was looking at our younger brothers and sisters that have their own page too, and they were talking about how the minister said that everybody is blessed with some talent, some blessing that helps them be able to build with that blessing, whether it be oil, whether it be cotton or whatever kind of raw resource, natural resource. Our natural resources is our talent. So any type of talent that we have should always be used not only to build a nation, but for the glory of God. And we have the ability to do that. That's why we are supposed to use up all of this.
Okay.
Yes.
And can the expression of different art forms be also used to because you talked about the fighting side,
right?
You're at war,
right?
So can these expressions be used for that as well?
Well, the Holy Quran says in everything there's a sign, so that means you can learn from everything. You know, you got to know when to swing. You know, we in all our learning FOI classes, the men's classes, with go in peace and never be the aggressor. But we only fight with those who fight with us. And we believe that Allah will bless us to be the winner. So that's can go the same way when you have a spiritual fight. You got to pick your battles. You got to know when to strike and when to be peaceful. Like it says in Ecclesiastes 3:3 or 3, the whole chapter 3. That there's a time and place for everything under the sun. You utilize all of this. And when you're guided from the right guide, you know when, you know what I mean, to do what needs to be done. Now, I know what I said earlier, Kyle, but if you got anything in your mind, we might as well keep it going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We'll try to do the 1 hour thing next time.
Okay.
Because this is flowing too strong to stop it.
Because it just seems like, the message is like such an inspiration.
Yes.
Like you look at like the message called in the Million Man March, then you know, the Millions More movement.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Millions of people coming to DC to you know, unite and join, like black people of different religions too,
Right.
not just Muslims. So if it can inspire people to come together in that way, black people,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
Just say, you know, black men especially.
Exactly.
You know.
Well, black people, because women came together too.
Yeah. But you know what? I guess the reason there's a reason why I say it that way.
Okay.
Because I feel like, you know, women by nature, especially black women by nature, are more communal. Like black women can come together, learn something.
Mm-hmm.
They have book groups. You know what I mean? They you know, they do cultural stuff all the time.
Okay.
I feels like sometimes black men are more kind of like,
Right,
you know,
absolutely.
I'm not getting together with anybody.
Right,
You know what I mean? Like I'm at the
Ego.
crib. Yeah, I'm at the crib. I don't want to hear what he's got to
Right.
say.
You know it all already.
Exactly.
They need you. You don't need them
Right,
kind of
right.
attitude.
You're
Yeah.
dealing with men. That's a part of what we deal with.
Right.
So that's you know, that's what I wanted to say on that.
Right.
But when we talk about the youth, though, like you know, the younger generation coming up, like what is it that you look to see when they hear the message? Like what is it? Because we talking about arts and learning and
Right.
expression,
Right.
being able to express oneself, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what is it that we're wanting to see from the young people coming along?
Well, the minister said that this generation is the generation that's going to take us there.
Mm-hmm.
That the kingdom of heaven is going to be built with this generation, and it's a very, very valuable generation that needs to be protected
Mm-hmm.
from the beast that knows what the minister knows about this nation or
Mhm.
this generation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when you say what is it that we want from them, we want them to know how valuable they are
Mm-hmm.
and act accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
Acting accordingly is simply receive this message, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and continue in it.
Mm-hmm.
Apply it.
Mm-hmm.
Young people for battle, and older people for counsel. Young people for war.
Mm-hmm.
We want them to receive this message
Mm-hmm.
and take it where it needs to be taken, because it's their destiny to do it anyway.
Okay.
So we want them to know that they are the ones who's going to actually be successful with this message, and not just be successful at explaining it or teaching it or giving lectures about it, but actually building this world. They have the backing of God. And we want them to know that and act on that.
Praise be to Allah. Right. That's so heavy.
Praise be to Allah.
Yeah,
So
so
that's what we want from them.
Mm-hmm.
It's their world,
Mm-hmm.
and they are our future.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I feel like everybody knows it but us.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the way this white supremacy world is set up, we're going to have to do a part 2 to this. This is deep.
Yeah.
But the way this world is set up, it's set up in a way where it doesn't promote anything black.
Mm-hmm.
So Steve Harvey don't have a show no more. Kelly Clarkson has his slot.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that the hateful Europeans that promote white supremacy, because you got to be a hateful European to promote white supremacy, because white supremacy means you're only trying to make yourself supreme. You're not even trying to follow God. You're just trying to build a world with your face all over it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a bunch of people that you would never know support this kind of mindset. These are the people that woke up one day and said, everybody on the wall of my daughter is black. She got Jay-Z on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter got Kobe Bryant on the wall. This is what a hateful European, I believe they woke up one day
Mm-hmm.
and said, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we're making money from these guys. Yes, they're making big money for us. You know what I mean? As they use their gifts and talents to strengthen my pocket. But it's at the expense of my daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think that just made them wake up one day and say, hey, I don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want my daughter to have a picture of Shaq on the wall
Mm-hmm.
or Will Smith on the wall, you know, or Donovan McNabb or or on my wall. You know? So how do you, what did they do? They the gods that can give and they the gods that can take away, because this is their world.
Okay.
And that's exactly what they exercise. So now, covertly, they're erasing all of our giants. And they're not even just saying, okay, well, Jay-Z, you're older, you did your thing, we're looking for new rappers. So now we got G-Eazy. You know what I mean? They're not even saying it like that. They are literally erasing us from history. All of your great ones are being erased, and we don't even see it like sheep. You're not even saying anything about it. Man, raise your voice. What happened to the greatest entertainer of all times? Michael Jackson, the king of pop. Now he's a child molester after he was killed, after he was found innocent. He became guilty in death, but yet Great Balls of Fire, Jerry Lee Lewis, who I believe is still alive today, who married his own cousin, his 14 or 15-year-old little cousin. But nobody's talking about him being a pedophile, incest pedophile.
Okay.
So they pick and choose what they're doing because all people do good, all people do bad. But they highlight the bad that we do whenever it's convenient. And they never do that for themselves. And I'm sick of the double standard, really. Because it's too much, I really believe they're going to start talking about Kobe's domestic situation when he went through that. They're just waiting for the smoke to clear. But whatever the case may be, we can deal with what they're doing. R. Kelly, when you start talking about art, and the way he used to sing, he said some crazy songs, but he sang some crazy songs, but he had good songs too, didn't he? Yeah. Real spiritual, heartfelt songs. So what would happen with a guy like that if he would have gave his life to Muhammad? You know what I mean? And start singing like Michael Jackson's last songs where he sang the Al-Fatiha. He was singing the prayer, and now he's a child molester. That's one of the reasons they had to dig him back up and turn him back into a pedophile, because the average person doesn't know that even though Michael Jackson was a Christian, he died as a Muslim. And before his fans find that out, they want to make it so that all over the world, America is trying to they're very adamant to teach the world to stop playing Michael Jackson's music. See, tricky, deceiving devils, man, is what these people are when they do these things. Anybody that's trying to spearhead a mission like this is a devil, man. It's Satan himself. So then you have R. Kelly. He married Aaliyah, and the parents is bad. He's bad, horrible pedophile. He's in court right now because the parents gave R. Kelly Aaliyah. How horrible can they be? How horrible is he for getting with a girl that was 15? They like to keep saying that. Instead of saying it like this. That young woman, young lady, was with a young man. He was older, but he was 25. I'm not condoning it because we in the Nation of Islam believe in following the laws of the land. If she's not 18, then that's wrong.
Right.
But why is it only wrong with R. Kelly and not Elvis Presley, who her parents gave Priscilla Presley to Elvis at 15, and Elvis was 25? Is he now dug back up and we say we're not going to let him continue to call himself the king? You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
He's still the king after doing what R. Kelly is doing. Why is he not a pedophile? Because he's white, and they're promoting white, and they're trying to kill black, and black need to wake up and make the fight fair. It's not fair. You're not awake. Wake up and can you imagine if all black people were talking like us? See, we're trying so hard to reach our people, but they're not cooperating. It's like trying to save somebody out of the water. He's drowning, but he won't even pull his hand out of the water. We can fix our problems overnight when we just cooperate with each other. So we got to keep doing what we're doing until we get a hand that we can pull in. Right to 2508 North Broad Street, Sunday 11 o'clock. It's so easy.
Right.
That's our local mosque. If you get inspired from what you hear, you can be our guest, the guest of the South Philly Soldiers. That's all you got to do. I'm Brother Zebulon, this is Brother Kyle. It's easy. Let's say somebody's listening to this for the first time. You're right here in Philadelphia.
Right.
Next door to the Rim Shop. Between Lehigh Avenue and Cumberland. Broad Street. Very easy. And they've learned to be, accept your own to be yourself.
Come as you are.
That's right. Dress like this.
Come as you are.
Nobody gonna laugh at you.
Yeah.
Nobody gonna judge you. Bring your mind. Put a suit on that brain. Your bow tie come later, be on your body later, but from the beginning, that's what I did. I used to love going to the mosque comfortable. So, yep.
Well, do you have any other thoughts or anything else you want to share?
Final thought, I'll just go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you, brother.
Yep.
I'll wrap it up with something that's on my heart. I don't know if you got that email that we were supposed to be writing a letter to our minister.
Yeah.
Somebody said something about even making a video. And God is so great, we already on top of that. So I can just give the minister a little message, and I would like if you did it too, because he's your minister as well. I don't ain't no compulsion in religion. I don't want to put no pressure on you, but I really just like to say that I love you, minister, and I thank you so much for giving me life. You know, I also like to say that our people need to really express the love that they have for our minister, our leader, not just no leader of the Nation of Islam, but the leader of the leader of the whole black community, because nobody else fits this position better. I mean, what other black leader can you have that really deserves that honor over the minister? And I'm really, to be honest, sick of people making it seem as if there's somebody else. Because Allah himself has made the minister to be the last man standing. Nothing against the other black leaders. But how many people have Farrakhan's resume? So if you're going to hire a black leader, if you're going to hire a guide for you and your children, why would you overlook Al for A? And let me explain that a little further. In Islam, we say al-Baqarah, which is the cow, definite article, not just a cow or a leader, but the leader for our people. You know what I mean? The leader that God has blessed us with in our time. You see how this all ties in? Yes, other leaders in other times were great, but who is the great one today? So I thank you so much, Minister Farrakhan, for your love and faith for our Christ, that you are a worthy and faithful servant, keeping the grace of Allah going for a person like myself, who, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to experience that grace.
That's right.
You know what I mean? I want to leave that as a final thought, because we have our favorite ones, don't we? But are they 60 years sacrificing? 64 years sacrificing? Are they people that go up against the devil regardless to whom or what the consequences may be? Are they really dying in their old self and being reborn in their new self, giving their life? And from giving their lives, God, Allah, will return it to them? The minister gave his life and Allah gave it back. Is your leader a person that can say that? And if your leader is not a person that can say that, I'm not telling you to stop following that man. I'm just asking you to ask that man, what does he think about Farrakhan? And if he don't give the right answer, then you act accordingly. You give the right answer. You recognize real leadership. You support real leadership. That's for you, Minister.
Indeed.
Yes, sir.
Indeed. I think the minister mainly for, a number of things, but if I, keep it short in one word, I would say for the inspiration.
Right.
You can have you can have things that are inside that you feel like, all right, these are things that I would be interested to study, to research, to branch out and pursue. But it's something about being under the guidance of the minister where it gives you that extra incentive to go ahead and make it happen. And it gives you like you're kind of on the mission to spread the message anyway. So it's like once you're on the message to spread the mission, you want to reach out and touch different people. You want to reach out and receive different people. You want to be diverse, and it just gives you that extra incentive to go ahead and do that. And because it's a part of the mission anyway.
Right.
So I thank Allah and I thank the minister for giving us the mission.
Right. Praise be to Allah.
Praise be to Allah.
We're going to end on Brother Kyle.
All right.
So we meet again. Wa alaikum salam.
Inshallah.
Yes, sir. All right, Brother Kyle.
Yeah, man.
Another work of art.
You know what we do.
Yes, sir.
Allah makes it happen. We're just the vessels.
Yes, sir. Allahu
Yeah.
Akbar.
Alhamdulillah.